The hospital lights hummed softly, casting sterile reflections across the polished floor. The faint scent of antiseptic lingered in the air, blending with the low murmur of doctors and the rhythmic beeping of monitors. But in room 417, something much colder than medicine filled the space, a sting of humiliation. Nurse Emma Clark stood frozen, her hands trembling as she clutched the edge of the patient's bed. Across from her stood Vivian Grayson, wife of the city's most powerful billionaire. Dressed in diamonds and disdain, Vivian's voice sliced through the air. "Do you call yourself a nurse?" She sneered, her tone dripping venom. "You spilled water on my shoes. These cost more than your monthly salary." Emma's lips parted, but no words came. Her face flushed with shame. The old man lying in the bed, Mr. Grayson's father, watched the exchange silently, his frail hands twisting the blanket in discomfort. Vivian stepped closer, her heels clicking like thunder. "You should be cleaning floors, not touching patients. Honestly, it's disgusting how people like you even get hired." Emma blinked rapidly, willing herself not to cry. She had seen arrogance before, people who thought money made them untouchable, but this felt different. This felt cruel. And then, without warning, the door opened. Standing there was Ethan Grayson, the billionaire himself. Tall, calm, and unreadable, he took in the scene before anyone spoke. His eyes first found Emma's tear-brimmed ones, then drifted to his wife. The silence grew heavy, thick with tension. The nurses at the door exchanged uneasy glances. "What's going on here?" His voice was steady but sharp enough to cut glass. Vivian turned instantly, her expression softening like a mask being swapped. "Oh, darling," she said sweetly. "This nurse was being completely careless. She nearly dropped water all over your father. I was just setting her straight." Ethan's gaze shifted to Emma again. "Is that true?" Emma's throat tightened. She shook her head faintly. "No, sir. The glass slipped. But it didn't touch him. I apologized." Vivian laughed, forced and brittle. "You're not going to believe her over me, are you?" Ethan didn't answer right away. He looked at his father, whose eyes silently pleaded with him. Then, without a word, he walked over to the bed, picked up the glass, and placed it carefully on the tray. He straightened up, his expression unreadable. "Vivian," he said quietly, "step outside with me. Now." His tone wasn't loud, but it carried enough gravity to silence everyone in the room. Vivian hesitated, glaring briefly at Emma before following him into the hallway. Outside, Ethan's calm facade began to fracture. "What were you doing in there?" "Ethan, don't take that tone with me," she snapped. "That nurse was incompetent. She should be fired." "How dare she? How dare you?" he interrupted, his voice low but dangerous. "Do you have any idea who that nurse is? What she's done for my father? For weeks, she's been working double shifts because other staff called in sick. She's the reason he's stable enough for you to visit him today." Vivian folded her arms, indignant. "I don't care. I won't be spoken to like this by help." Ethan took a step closer, his eyes blazing. "That help holds the hands of dying people. She cleans up blood, tears, and pain while you sit in spas complaining about the color of your nail polish. You humiliated someone who's giving my father compassion money could never buy." Vivian faltered, her mouth opening and closing. "You've crossed a line," Ethan continued, his voice trembling slightly now, not with anger, but with disappointment. "Do you know what kindness means anymore? Or have you forgotten what it's like to be human?" Vivian tried to regain her footing. "You're overreacting. It was just a misunderstanding." "No," he said softly, shaking his head. "It wasn't. It was a revelation." He turned away from her, his chest rising with restrained emotion. "Go home, Vivian. I'll deal with this." Her face paled. "Ethan, are you serious?" "Yes. Go home." The command was final. She huffed, muttering something under her breath, but when she saw his expression, cold, resolute, she left without another word. When Ethan re-entered the room, the nurses went silent. Emma tried to move aside, avoiding his gaze. But he walked straight toward her. "I'm sorry," he said quietly. Emma blinked, startled. "Sir, I'm sorry for what you just went through. No one should be treated like that. Least of all someone who's dedicated her life to helping others." Her lips trembled. It's okay. I'm used to it." "Don't ever say that," he said firmly. "You shouldn't have to be used to disrespect." He reached into his jacket pocket and handed her a card. "Come to my office tomorrow." I want to discuss something with you. She looked hesitant. Sir, please, he interrupted softly. Just trust me. The next morning, Emma stood outside the Grayson Holdings skyscraper, clutching that card like a lifeline. She almost didn't come. What would a billionaire want with a nurse like her? But something in his tone yesterday had felt genuine. The receptionist led her up to the top floor. The doors opened to a breathtaking office overlooking the city skyline. Ethan sat behind a sleek desk, his sleeves rolled up, his expression calm but focused. Emma, he greeted warmly. I'm glad you came. She smiled nervously. Thank you for inviting me, Mr. Grayson. He gestured for her to sit. Ethan is fine. And please relax, I didn't bring you here for trouble. She exhaled, visibly relieved. I couldn't stop thinking about what happened yesterday, he said, his tone thoughtful. You handled that situation with such grace. I saw how you didn't fight back, even when you were being humiliated. Why? Emma hesitated. Because, sometimes standing tall doesn't mean shouting back. I've learned that kindness speaks louder when it's quiet. Ethan leaned back, visibly moved by her words. You're right. That's something people like me tend to forget. He stood up and walked to the window, gazing out over the city. This hospital my family funds, it was built on the idea of helping people. But somewhere along the way, it became about prestige, reputation, and control. I want to change that. She frowned slightly, confused. Change it how? He turned back to her. By creating something new. A healthcare program, run by people like you. Compassionate nurses, caretakers, and social workers who understand humanity before profit. Her eyes widened. That's incredible. But why me? Because I need someone who knows what it's really like on the ground. Someone who still believes in people. He paused. Will you help me build it? Emma's eyes filled with tears. Yes, of course. And so it began. Over the following months, Project Grace, named after Ethan's late mother, took shape. It wasn't just another medical program, it was a revolution in care. Hospitals in the poorest districts received better funding, nurses were trained and paid fairly, and patients were treated with dignity, not as cases. Emma worked tirelessly, coordinating with doctors and volunteers. Her warmth and integrity inspired everyone around her. Ethan watched her work with quiet admiration. He saw how she treated everyone, patients, janitors, executives, with equal respect. In her, he saw what wealth could never buy, the kind of goodness that came from the soul. Meanwhile, rumors about his split from Vivian spread through the cities. Tabloids. Some said he was mad to walk away from such a powerful socialite, others whispered that he'd found something better, not romance but purpose. One evening, after a long day at the hospital, Ethan found Emma sitting by an elderly patient's bed, reading softly to him. The man was asleep, but she kept reading anyway, her voice gentle and calm. He waited until she finished before speaking. You never stop, do you? She smiled tiredly. They need someone to remind them they're not alone. Ethan looked at her for a long moment. You remind all of us. A year later, the Grayson Foundation Hospital stood as a beacon of compassion. The media called it the hospital that changed how America heals. Ethan didn't want credit. Instead, he made sure every nurse, doctor, and worker was honored equally. At the grand reopening, he took the stage. Cameras flashed, the audience hushed. I used to think money could fix anything, he began. That you could build empires, buy solutions, and silence pain. But I was wrong. Real change doesn't start with wealth, it starts with kindness. He glanced toward Emma, standing at the back with tears in her eyes. I saw cruelty once, right here in these halls. It reminded me that humanity can get lost even in the places meant to save it. But one woman reminded me that empathy still exists. That every act of compassion ripples farther than we'll ever see. The crowd erupted in applause. But Emma, standing quietly, only smiled. After the event, Ethan approached her. You did this, he said softly. She shook her head. No, we did this. He smiled. Then let's keep doing it. And for the first time in a long while, Ethan Grayson, the billionaire who once believed power was everything, felt truly rich. Because kindness had built what money never could. And somewhere, in the quiet of a hospital room filled with healing and hope, humanity had finally found its way home.